Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to go over the comments of the StartEngine fundraising, and they're just it's just gone so funny. I thought it'd be a good idea to catalog this on the video just in case people decide to delete the comments. And I warn you, my voice is going. I'm not feeling too good, and I apologize if there's like less energy than normal when I usually post, and if my voice sounds kind of low. And so I'll try not to go read every single comment word for word just because it'll take forever. And a lot of the good stuff is actually towards the end of the video. So I hope you stay to the end because the juicy stuff is closer to the end. But I'll try to go through the beginning part a little bit quicker, but they go in more detail in the later parts. So we'll start out with this first one. It starts with Jim S saying, "Can't wait to play Toe Jam and Earl on this." And just like Earthworm Jim, it's not going to happen. It's probably a troll comment. Well, not probably, definitely a troll comment. But it's just another point saying where Tommy lied and pretended that there was actually going to be all these cool games and it never happened. John says, "Don't know who these devs are, but yeah, on YouTube videos, this is about to be one of the games, but one or both parties discontinued the process. I think the same about Kung Fu Mastered. I think they're talking about the cat fighting game. Not going to happen, but it was on the list for a while." Cesar says, Sadly, the devs said they're not working on the Amico version at all, which they're not. Okay, so we'll just go to this comment, and we won't read every single paragraph just because there's a lot of just bickering. But Cesar, this is a comment I had in my previous video where Cesar said, "Because billions of people love burgers, I'll be rich selling burgers." He spelled burgers really funny. It doesn't work that way. If casuals love playing with their phones and tablets, it's because there's zero money and effort put into downloading a free game and playing it for a couple minutes. They're casual phone players for a reason. You're trying to sell cigars for non-smokers. Basically, Cesar is bringing up that if you just buy 51 Clubhouse games on the Switch, which is only $40, you get 51 board games, mini games, like tank games, all easy pick up and play. He's just basically pointing out that it's a much better value, and he's just asking what's the point of buying this when you can get the Switch. And Nick says their primary focus is in-person group play. Everything is designed around that. One reason we have screens on the controller is so people can have their own private information when playing games like the popular social deception games. Obviously, many card games require you to have your own cards that can't be seen by others. I always found this one funny. They always bring up that point. There's nothing stopping people from just opening up a pack of cards, which is significantly easier, to play with your friends a card game with just a regular pack of cards than to have all your 7 of your friends download the Intellivision app, sync up the controllers, get the game loaded. It's just significantly easier. Why and use your screen is just easier to use a pack of cards. So I'm going to bounce back to the previous menu here. Cesar complains about not giving a direct answer to his direct questions. He put it in cap locks so that he means business when he does that. Of course, they're not going to address that because Intellivision has no answer to that. It's like, oh yeah, it is much better value. If you buy the 51 Clubhouse games, you get 51 Amico-like games at better quality at a fraction of the price. I do like Nick's comment here saying, "Cesar, you're obviously passionate and have quite a lot of disdain for what we're doing." And this is just another poor decision from Intellivision. Just if you can tell a guy is trolling, just don't sell it. Don't even respond because it just makes you look worse. This is very Tommy-like. It says, "What we're doing here is to appeal to everyone. We see Intellivision as something that will be a reimagined version of all those board games in a family's closet." So now they're going with the board games angle. It keeps changing. There's always something different. So now they're going to pretend they're a board game console. By natively supporting cell phones as controllers, we can inexpensively bring many people together, up to 8 people, but more in the future. That's the first I've heard that they can have more than 8 people on the console, which can be a very expensive proposition if not impossible with other systems. The growth in the board game market has demonstrated the desire for people to come together and group play. Respectfully, the current console providers are not focused on in-person group play. Sony and Microsoft are focused on high-end immersive experiences and online play. So so now they're trying to introduce the board game thing, and I'm not an expert in board games, but from what I've understood, there's a lot more people are playing more in-depth board games these days. So a lot of D&D type games or RPG board games are ones that I don't think there's a sudden influx of people playing Farkle or Uno. I think it's more of the the bigger experiences, and those games are much more in depth than what they're offering here. And what they don't bring up is that like Ubisoft has the Monopoly license and a bunch of other games, and you can easily play that online on your current consoles, and of course the Jackbox games where you can use your phones. So that market's already addressed. I just do find it funny that they're now targeting board games. It's like that's their new shtick. So I'll skip ahead. So Jeff H says, hello. For those of us who invested in the first round, is the investment still for revenue sharing, or will that be investment be converted into shares? Thanks. And Nick responds, hey Jeff, the investment through Republic is structured as a revenue share and will remain as a revenue share commitment to the company. So he's just basically going over what we already know. And Alan A chimes in and says, for additional consideration, the actual release date of the console has slipped 2 or 3 times. The last published release date for a start of delivery for early purchasers was the end of year 2021. There have been no additional announcements as the ETA for the first delivery of consoles. The filing document suggests future game revenue and licenses. Without a console in the hands of buyers, it is hard to generate gaming revenues. I was shocked to see only 4 months of working capital left without a mention of a proposed release date of the console. I pre-ordered the Amico console over a year ago and would love to see the company succeed. And he personally has doubt at this point. So we have our first naysayer here. And David says, I wish these were in order because the comments are out of sync here. But I guess John had said 2 pages of the Form C describes the revenue share agreement they invested in. Rather, the Form C says the agreement with FIG. Therefore, you have an agreement with FIG that it blah, blah, blah. And the form also says the company has $1.9 million in cash and can remain in operation until July 2022. I don't remember that. I thought it was without this investment, they only have 2 months of capital to survive, and if they get the full 5, or I'm not even sure if it's 5 or 10 million, then they can last until July. So John C. clearly is defending them. David S. had said, Sean, with all due respect, I hardly think that the fact that the company may be able to remain in operation for another 4 months is a good reason to invest. Considering their existing liabilities are well over $8 million and they have been using the FIG Republic investor funds to pay back director loans, I don't see how anyone would consider this a good investment. So David S. is speaking the truth here. I also like a little bit lower. He says, Jeff, that money is long gone and not related to this new round of funding, except to say that Intellivision is substantially in debt and remains contractually obligated to FIG Republic should they ever produce a tangible product. So David S. is keeping it real. So we have Ijoma N. Hopefully I said that right. I know it's tough being an entrepreneur and taking on this product in the middle of a pandemic. From what I heard, the major constraints has been due to supply chain challenges. And that's what they said last year is all about the chips and not being able to get the 4 parts sourced. I invested in the first round. Oh no, another investor. It was full of promises, which I still hope they can pull through. And I was really looking out for a message for CEO Tallarico that said we have fixed the supply chain issues and they're ready to take off. If help is needed, you've got thousands of persons who would pull resources through to see you flourish, but you need to speak up. Let's know where the constraints are with the setup of the product and China supply issues. And that's what they said, I think, on the Republic. There was a comment, someone who left a comment who invested saying, he has connections in China and he can probably help them out if they just let him know exactly what they need. And clearly that they're not going to be, fully honest on the real reason was because the software is not done, or else they're out of money, or what the real reason is. So Nick responds to him saying, hello, Ijoma. Truly thank you for your support. We obviously have challenges that we are working through. One of the bigger challenges is for us to, at the moment, is the cash requirements to secure parts. Normally, a lot of our parts could be ordered on terms with little to no money down. This is mainly true for the non-specialty parts that are used in a wide array of electronics. With the current market pressures and daily price fluctuations, some vendors are required large down payments to secure inventory, and in some cases 100% payment upfront. So I won't read everything. He's just using more excuses, but he doesn't address the $1.5 million that they owe to ARC and what the deal is with that. So would that not be a down payment? So he's saying, at the same time, our engineers are working hard to wrap up and harden many features as possible. Blah, blah, blah. So he had once again addresses David S. at the bottom, saying, as for David's comment in the thread, there are many false statements being made. Oh, they're their go-to false statements. Unfortunately, even in this comment section, the directors have collectively put in millions of their own money to support the company and have been very generous to not demand payment while the company is working towards launch. In addition, most of the management team have taken no or low salaries to help improve cash flow. Well, Jesus Christ. The financial documents show that they charge an exorbitant amount of interest, which he doesn't bring that up, and they have taken salaries. And a lot of startups, the people, they don't take salaries. They just put the money directly, reinvest it back into the business. And usually they do that for the first, 1 or 2, sometimes 3 years, depending when they actually get cash flow. And it's not like these guys like Nick or Tommy or Phil are hurting for cash. Like, these people appear to be well off if they're able to buy a bunch of toy, Porsches and Ferraris and all that stuff. So it's not like these guys are hurting for cash, yet they still pull the 6-figure salary and loan the company. Like, why would they loan money? Why wouldn't they just directly invest into it? So it's funny that he would respond to that comment without being fully honest. So if you go back, I'm not going to read all this stuff, but our hero here, David S., basically just brings up what I said, and then Nick shows the actual salaries of, the average salary in those Irvine, California, and compares to what they had paid for at Intellivision. But maybe this would have been a good time for someone to post the link to the Intellivision tour of the office, where they show Nick Richards, who owns the building, first of all, or else leasing the building, and all his hot rod cars and the pilot cockpit and all these toys that they have stored in the office. And same with Tommy, he has all that Han Solo and kryptonite and all that stuff. It's not like these guys are hurting for cash, and just because they took a smaller salary than the average, it doesn't mean it's right. Like, most people, especially with startups, they don't take salaries. They just, and those people don't have the money. These people have the money, so him showing all the stats and stuff, it just makes them look more scummy, I guess is the word. And we thank Joseph and David S. for, well, maybe it's not David, but we thank the heroes here for pointing it out. So for the next comment, Denny Vias says, in the event Amico is not sustainable by Q4 2022, as stated above, with this round of investor shares transfer as shares in FIG. And this is where Nick says, no, they aren't. So basically, you're screwed. This money does not carry through. You lose it. And Ijoma brings up, well, you can apply the loss to your taxes. And David S. says, no, you simply just lose your investment. I'm guessing Denny Vias didn't look into the details. It's pretty clear where they say that this money you invest, you're not getting it back if they don't make it. And the odds of them making it are super low. So Theodore asks, to quote a respected reviewer on Kotaku, this is the new gaming console that became a giant car crash. StartEngine will sell you anything. A review of the financials, as explained below, reveals a multi-car crash. So Peter C. is trying to defend it, of course. Must be on staff or something. And saying, what if they do turn it around? You might miss out on the opportunity to make a ton of money. Theodore just points out that that's ridiculous. So we have Roosevelt, who is invested into 118 investments. So I guess he likes to invest. He says, what's really going on with this company? You have a new CEO. What happened with the previous one? You raised more than enough on WeFunder platform to, I don't know what WeFunder is, to the market. Why are you raising more funds? What was the valuation of the WeFunder capital raised since this round is at 0.72 a share? You guys have a lot of explaining to do, especially from your previous crowdfunding shareholders. And I'm guessing this guy's for real and not a troll, because it shows that he has a bunch of investments. And we have 2 responses here. And first is from a John Alvarado saying, hi, I'm Intellivision CTO, because they have so many freaking executives. I want to answer your question about what happened to the previous CEO, Tommy Tallarico. As you know, Phil has taken over CEO duties, bringing his wealth of experience to the role. This change allows Tommy to focus on the areas of his greatest strengths as President and Chief Creative Officer. These active roles, which he had previously already was filling in addition to CEO, Tommy continues to lead the internal production team and direct external game development to ensure that Amico games delight our audiences. Because, he has to do so much in the Chief Creative Officer role. He's so creative with games such as Pong. Nick even chimes in, "Hey, Roosevelt, quick clarification. We have never raised money on WeFunder. We raised our previous round on Republic." Actually, their previous was on Fundable, I thought. And it says that we structured a revenue share with terms that we end the revenue share once key milestones are hit. What he doesn't say is those milestones are insane. Like will never get hit. With regard to the statement, you have raised more than enough to bring this to market. The vast majority of all funds raised have been spent on product, whether it be hardware, firmware, software, game development, art, animation. Did they spend the money on the art? Did they really spend the money on those battle tanks clip arts? As well as a host of back-end systems to support operations. The initial cost of developing an entirely new gaming console is considerable. As we approach launch, we do need to raise additional funds to continue the fund engineering. Well, I thought this was ready to on the Neil Patel video, ready, it's on the rocket ship and ready to take off. They just need the fuel to get it going. This doesn't sound like that. Particularly in the area of the back-end systems that support online transactions and manage the digital rights to games, which integrates with our general ledger system, as well as the customer service system, so when a customer calls their support team, they can determine what system they have purchased and what games they own. So it sounds like they're really... they haven't... that does not sound like a system that's ready to just needing fuel and ready to take off. And that's a big deal, especially the back-end systems with if they are doing NFTs and all that. That's a lot of work. So he says, with the launch, we obviously need to properly fund our marketing efforts. We have some great marketing partnerships that will give us tremendous reach into our target demographics. We will, though, manage the spend so we don't outpace our ability to ramp up production. Our priority is the Founders Editions and VIP Editions, as these folks have been the most dedicated supporters. So, it still didn't answer, where the money's... what happened to the previous money? Did they or underestimate how much it cost to launch a system? That, it seems like they blew a lot of money. So it appears that John C. is an Amico defender. I'm not going to read everything he says, but he gets into a disagreement with Roosevelt. And also, as you can see, if you pause the frame with David S. defending the Amico or Intellivision, and it just comes off poor. So he's doing more harm than help by crapping on the people who are asking questions. So once again, Joseph B. asks, there's a new Ars Technical article up about this. I think anyone considering investing should read it, and especially the full offering details PDF here very, very carefully before going any further. And Theodore says, and it is our communal obligation as participants in crowdfunding to warn our fellow investors who do not dig as deep to beware and to be careful. Platforms like StartEngine are desperate for deals and are now on the verge of killing the goose that laid the golden egg. Many current offerings are just appearing on crowdfunding sites are absolute junk and far inferior to quality investments to years past. With every junky new offering, regardless of history and lack of revenue, seeming to have a baseline investment of 8 to 12 million. And David S. says, absolutely, caveat emptor, which is buyer beware. So we have Willem, who has invested in 78 different investments. He says, hello, we are in 2022, but on your Form C, there's only outdated 2019 and 2020 financials. Please, could you share your 2021 figures? Even unaudited figures would be appreciated. As a very cautious investor, I would have otherwise have to think that they might be so bad it would be better to keep them under the lid. Thank you. And Nick does respond, saying that they're working hard to close their 2021 books as quickly as possible, and he'll try to work with his head of finance to provide unaudited numbers. Of course, they're not going to do that because the numbers are terrible. if 2020 was that bad, 2021 it's only gonna be worse because they, aside from selling a few physical products, they burn through a lot more money. And in the comments, you can once again see John C. getting involved, David S. The same characters, either defending or else exposing Intellivision. It's quite comical. I do like the Willem's comment here saying, John C., who do you think you are? Calling other investors' names and answering my question on behalf of the company? Nobody here is interested in what you have to say, so you can go to make love to yourself with your opinions in bad language. I wonder if John C. is like Relic Gamer or someone. I don't know. No, I think the sentences are they're put together too well there, so I don't think he would do that. But he's definitely an Amico defender, like to the bitter end. I mean, maybe he's an employee of the place. And it looks like John C. keeps getting involved and calling this. Like Willem had a perfectly legitimate question, and he just craps on him. And you're quite the martyr, though, manipulating facts. So, this is what he's talking about, David. Manipulating facts so that people perceive you, a company, a certain way so that you can pat yourself in the back for saving them. Such integrity you have, Yoda. So, guessing John C. is going on full defense mode there. So Theodore once again brings up, let's be blunt, if this crowdfunding campaign fails, the doors to this company will close in June or July. Probably sooner. Keep on the lookout for news of executives beginning to leave and independent directors resigning. John C. has to make a comment saying, I've read enough of your comments to add you to a list of people pretending to be interested prospective investors in this offering only to reveal your agenda by eventually making alarming comments like this. What is this? What is your proper response? See, this John Cena guy here, full blown on defense. I wonder if it's Tommy, because who else has the time to answer everybody and to get so defensive and take it so personal? Like, this guy is just a random investor. Why is he going out of his way to defend every comment? I wonder if John is the Tommy. John C., that is. So Tony S. says, this is a very solid investment, run by great people. New CEO Phil Adam has 40 years of experience in this industry, is one of the people responsible for bringing Tetris to the U.S., and Tommy Tallarico has a drive and passion that you want in a president. People need to understand that the Ars Technica Arta was written by a person with an axe to grind and is full of lies. So I wonder which shill is Tony S. here. And look who we have in the comments here. We have some familiar faces here. And one is Charles Y., which is an Amico, super fan and investor. He says, I completely agree. I agree completely. This is a solid company. These individuals have never failed at what they do. Well, they're failing. Does this guy not read the financials there? And if Tommy got demoted, isn't that failing as his job as CEO? That would be a fail in my opinion. The YouTube and internet trolls have always have a field day when you say you're interested in a new gaming console. Don't pay attention to them. Facts are facts. So he says facts are facts. Does this guy not read the financial documents and how serious in debt they are and how far behind? Like, that's purely facts. That's not even opinion. Not a sharp guy, this Charles Y. guy. Not too sharp. So once again, John C's here. It has to be Tommy, because who else would constantly write this? He's crapping on David S. for, David is just bringing up the truth and John's getting upset. Jacob L. says, I had an interest in the system during the initial pitch in 2018 and thought this might be a friendly entry-level way to invest. Upon reading the SEC disclosures, I've decided to decline. One of the disclosure details that really jumped out of this agreement is the investor who will be getting $100 for each Amico system sold for the first 6,000 plus units. That completely drains any potential revenue for this year from the number of consoles pre-ordered. The project no longer appears to be viable with only enough cash on hand to keep the lights on until July. I hope all these valuable assets of the brand can be saved and repackaged with more focus in the future. that deal is just, that royalty deal is just, or loan or whatever it is insane. They took all their cash flow, like any cash flow that they could possibly get, and burned it by giving it to that guy. And then Nick brings up the same comment where he says, board members have loaned the company funds to support the dips in cash flow. They loaned at a high interest, and the board members could have, invested instead of just loan the money if they really believed in the product. So he goes, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't talk about how they charged tons of interest and how Tommy got that interest money back. So if you really cared about the company, instead of collecting whatever that interest was, again, like 100 grand or 200 grand, you would put that money directly into the back end, not into his pockets. So on top of taking a salary. And once again, John C is back here again saying, defending, it's got to be Tommy. He has to be. So Jacob once again says, as a long-term fan of Intellivision in the original Shark game, I have to say this several loan interest agreements and the SC disclosures are material for a new game called Loan Shark. I thought that was funny. Nick says, those board members that provided loans have agreed to not take any payments on interest in the short term, will entertain forgiveness on a portion of all. But they have taken, Tommy has been repaid his interest on some of his loans. And the fact that they charge loans and the interest rates, which were far higher than what you would get from a bank, is, of course, he doesn't answer the question honestly. It's just I find that very funny. Roosevelt, wow, John C, who do you really represent? An investor in WeFunder campaign has an agenda. So once again, calling out John C, Tommy. And they bring up the fact that they did not raise on WeFunder, they did on Republic, once again, completely ignoring the fundable. And John C here, writing a huge story, defending everything. It's got to be him. I keep saying it. I'm sorry this video is getting annoying, but I didn't really realize how many times John C wrote in this in the comments here, but it has to be. And to put all that effort in, writing stories here. Now here's one of the first big ones. It's from Jeff T, which is Smash JT, and everyone's already heard by now that he was coaxed into leaving a comment, and he tried deleting it afterwards. So this is where it gets really in scamming territory or scummy territory. It says, after personally meeting Tommy Tallarico and the entire team at the Orange County location and getting the opportunity to play the Amico on multiple occasions, I enjoyed my time with it so much that I decided to invest. The company is full of talented leaders, creators, developers, and with years of gaming expertise, and has navigated basically what amounts to a startup company through some of the biggest financial challenges in recent human history. I'm proud to be on board with the project and can't wait to finally have my own Amico to play with my family. And Doug G, I guess I responded, interesting name you got there, Dot. That's not suspicious at all. I think Nick might have just not used his name in the beginning. Nick says, Jeff, thank you for the positive words of encouragement. Please ignore the trolls that have invaded the site. And 2 days later, he turns on Intellivision. This is where it's like, people are giving Smash a pass, but I will actually agree with some of the cult members that is pretty that's pretty low. How you write this, and then a day later you suddenly just change your mind. I don't know. Coincidentally, another comment that was posted almost at the same time, almost like it was in synchronize. A bunch of these similar posts came out at the same time. A guy by the name of Tom F says, as an Intellivision Amico Founders Edition buyer, as well as buying the 8 physical games that went on sale in 2021, I look forward to the product hitting the mark. As I have a busy schedule and life can get in the way, some days it'll be nice to have a video game system for the family to enjoy a quick round of Astra Smash, among the many other titles that'll be coming out. No huge and steep learning curves, and one can dive in quickly to a few rounds and then go off and do some chores. This gaming system is well needed for many folks. Great idea, great product, get ready for some fun. Well, that doesn't sound like, someone who works for the company. Wait, Doug G says, you know what? This wording sounds almost like something a person within the company would write. I didn't see that comment. So we share the same thoughts to distract some of the other comments, but surely not. And Tom says, I wish I could work there. As much as I enjoyed what I do now, I imagine working at a company that I enjoyed back in the 70s and 80s and being able to bring a cool product out. Nick R says, Tom, thank you for your enthusiasm. Please ignore the trolls. They have invaded the site. Oh, just odd that they had back-to-back comments that just praised the system and mentioned the selling points of the system. What the heck is this? Jonathan A. He looks familiar as well. As someone who has spent time covering the Amico and getting to know many of the executives of the company, I can tell you I've never been so excited for a gaming product. Not only have I been covering the project, but I found my Founders Edition pre-ordered. As a married father of 3, I believe this is the gaming system that will bring my family and I back together in the living room to enjoy the fun. This is funny. He just posted a video of his Evercade unboxing with his 2 children. So he doesn't need to wait. He had his kids together in the same room with a different product that's already out and was much cheaper. David S. says, "Is that you, Tommy? That was the most hilarious thing I've read all day." Nick R. says, "Jonathan, thank you for your support. We are working hard to deliver on the experience you describe. Ignore the trolls that have invaded this site." Shockingly enough, we get another comment that's supporting the product from Gerald L. This is an opportunity, and they spelled opportunity funny. I'm excited for it. I'm had the chance to get my hands on the console at a public event, and I had fun. It was easy to use. I've heard the mission statement of the company as well as their target for the console. It is something that is worth my support. Amico! See what Nick says. Gerald, glad that you got a chance to try the system out. We won't achieve all our goals at the gate, but we are dedicated to creating the best in-person multiplayer experience possible. So it's just weird that they had 3 comments in a row that were pro Amico. And what we've learned from that since then is that at least the first comment was when Smash JT said that they were coaxed or suggested that they should write positive comments. So I'm wondering if those other 2 were, if they pushed them into writing something. Jacob says, 29 days ago, Nick Richards mentioned on Republic that we would be informed of the Amico launch date in 30 days. Are we still on track to hear about that by tomorrow? Nick says, my exact words were not, but that we would announce the ship date in approximately 1 month. So he did say 30 days or so. That was a month ago. We need a few more days to nail things down, but we are announcing within the month. And that was 8 days ago. We still haven't heard anything. I don't think that they have things nailed down yet. Hey, 8 days ago, Richard A. That guy looks familiar. He doesn't. Another positive comment, same time that those other guys have made their comments. Richard H. says, the Intellivision Amico is something that interests me on many levels. As a lifelong gamer in my 40s that is looking for a little back-in-the-day gaming, this system offers a fresh, updated look at what I remember so fondly growing up. As the dad of 2 young ones, this system offers me the chance to share in those moments of my childhood and play a few rounds of these great quick games before dinner or at a party with family and friends. As a manager of IT in a school environment, this system is perfect for deployment in almost any situation. I don't know how that has anything to do with anything. Like, you're managing IT in a school environment. It's perfect for deployment in any situation. That makes, like, him being a manager in IT, like, I work in IT, and I think this is ridiculous and terrible idea. And someone in IT would know better, so I question him. Is he a good manager of IT if he thinks this is a good idea? Like, I wouldn't want him working in my school division if he's making these type of decisions. I think he'd be bad for that job. So he just says the same selling points, having an opportunity to get my hands on, blah, blah, blah. I was impressed with the device and made me happy to see my kids enjoy the experience as well. I look forward to having Amico take its place in the living room. That the Founders Edition is going to get a ton of play. Good luck to the team. We can't wait to play together again. Richard H., the bacon ice cream guy. And what does Nick say? Thank you, Richard, for sharing your perspective. Please ignore the trolls that have invaded the site. You will see they post something negative on virtually every comment. And I do like David S.'s thing, wouldn't that be something? And Joseph says, this much astroturfing from users who are not investing themselves really do not add a credibility to this offering. It has the opposite effect. And John C. is saying, how do we know this is another tactic from the likes of David S. and his ilk? My guess is Tommy thinks that David S. is Tony. That's my guess. David S. says, Raffle. This thing just keeps getting on better. I don't even care if I get my Founders Edition anymore, because the whole show is the gift that keeps on giving. I can't wait for the next installment. It's true. Hey, the next comment, Charles Y. again, which is our favorite residential Trailer Park Rapper guy. I've personally played this gaming console, man, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you love Intellivision. It's a slam dunk. Can't wait to play again. So he doesn't really add anything to the... Like, these guys don't make any good points of selling it to investors. Like, oh, this... Point out any type of positive in the investment potential. Just like, this was fun to play. Meyer B says, this is an intriguing product. As a more religious family, we're not planning on getting our children into video games. With all the imagery and violence that we see with many of the games we see today. And we don't really want to invest in iPads and things that which we can't monitor. However, this came across a friend's feed and told me to take a look. I like the family friend. I can't even read this without laughing. I like the family-friendly aspect of this. I like the dedication of keeping games off the device that have no violence or language. I'm interested in seeing what comes to the market and what it would like to get this for our household. One question with above: Amico comes with 6 family-oriented games. As in, when you buy the Amico, it comes with 6 games. Nothing else. Like, this is so obviously fake. Like, this is terrible. What? It comes with 6 games? 6 games? Oh my god! What great value! Like, my god, these people are terrible at creating fake accounts. Thomas T writes, "Hi Meyer, my name is Tommy Tallarico, though he has his name as Thomas T. And he says, thank you for your interest, thoughts, and question. You're correct. When you purchase an Amico, it comes with 6 free games right out of the box. Those games include our motion control game Cornhole, Farkle, really cool cooperative space game called Astro Smash, a fun skiing game, and a family favorite called Shark, and he just talks about it. And the 6th free packing game has yet to be revealed, but I can tell you it's super easy and the fun party game and one of our favorites among our focus group testing." So he does the sales pitch, and I wonder if that is really Tommy in his other alt account. But this whole exchange here is just so fake, so bad. Like, it would take someone really, I don't want to say the word dumb to actually believe any of this, but it had to take someone really dumb. So Jacob L says, does Intellivision still have an office in Utah? The SEC document states a residential address for the corporation headquarters. Apologies for the questions. It's just part of my investment consideration process. Thanks. Nick says, Jacob, we're planning to move our office in Utah, so we didn't want to use the address we knew wouldn't be correct in the near future. So we used an address that we knew would be correct to receive correspondence. And Jacob calls him out and says, is there any information to disclose regarding the reason for having to leave the current office in Utah? We were shown a video tour of the building not too long ago, so he set him up there. It's on the expensive side and not as close as we'd like to where much of our staff lives. So why would a startup company invest in an expensive office and then realize 2 years later, oh, it's too expensive, so we're gonna move it to a smaller place? Like, why didn't they do that a year or two ago when they're hemorrhaging money? James E says, why is this stuck on number 3? Blah, blah, blah. He's just complaining about not being able to invest. So they might have James E as an investor. Jacob L, who's starting to write some pretty good questions here. Are there any plans to utilize the Amico trademark to obtain ownership of the AmicoGames.com domain? It is currently used to curate negative press about the project and may be a deterrent for potential customers in the future. And Luke H says, there's also AmicoAge.com, which is full of haters and fascist communists. Nick responds, Jacob, we estimate they would cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in legal fees to go after these type of sites, and they're totally anonymous, and we would have to get a court order just to simply know who we are dealing with. So the general toxic nature of the internet and video game industry in general will continue on full display. You don't have to spend 10 to 20 grand to find out who registered the domain. That's quite cheap. And the site itself, there's nothing illegal or nothing bad that they're doing. Nothing you can do with get your legal team after. Otherwise, they'd have to go like on Reddit, and where they're going to sue Reddit for them having content that shits on your product. Like, you just can't do that. So Mark T says, hello, I just came across this offering and am interested. I think it would benefit from a family-friendly video game console that has no violence and suggested things in its game library. However, when I googled Amico, the Tommy Tallarico came up. The first result contained this link on Twitter. Can anyone from the management team comment on why this person is chief creative officer or has an executive level at this company? I am not familiar with this body of work, but I do not want this person in charge of any content I may potentially give to my children. And I'll post the link here. Hang on a second. So here's the picture from that Imager link. And it's from the Atari Age forums where Tommy for years was shitting on people nonstop. And I guess he didn't think that far ahead that people, might look back and it might come to bite him in the ass in the long run. And so Nick, how he responds this is, we all make mistakes, and this platform doesn't allow you to edit or delete your posts. With that said, I posted a specific response in thread because David S. is posting the Tommy video in multiple places, including within this thread. So David S. is, as you see below, has a YouTube link, and that's the classic video where Tommy is making sexually suggestive stuff with a puppet. And Nick responds, 14 years ago he did a sketch scripted for a YouTube channel, is well known for the mature-oriented. This sketch obviously does not define the 32 years of video game experience and Tommy's creative contributions to Intellivision. Mark T says, thank you for your response. I did not watch the video from the trolls, but have you anything to say more about the recent comments when Tommy Tallarico that call people racist and morons? So Nick never responded to his original comments saying, all the terrible things he would write on Atari Age. They're on the Google image search results everywhere, and I look under his name. I see you have nothing under your name. It's only for him. I have 3 children, and it's terrifying to think that a creative CCO would be someone who posts that verbiage online. It seems that he has changed quite a bit over his 32-year history to someone who should not be in charge of a children's media. Do you have any explanation or support statements on this? So, great question by Mark, and really, Nick, what can he really say about that? I'm pretty sure there's no defense. Typical Tommy behavior that came to bite him in the ass in the long run, so sucks to be him.